Okay, and here we are in part 2 of what kind of businesses and jobs can you do if you haven't. By the way, if you just jumped on this one first, welcome to Prepping for Prosperity. If you haven't watched the first one yet, watch the first one first. Okay, and then come to this. I'm doing this part 2 because I ran out of time. There's so many ways to make money. There really is. It's just a matter of doing it. And these are things that don't cost a lot of money, if any, to get involved in. So watch part 1. Now we're part 2. We left the last thing that we talked about was meal preps. Then T-shirts. I used to, and I've told this story before. You know how many people make millions of dollars selling T-shirts? T-shirts are, everybody likes a T-shirt that says something, whether it's a political message, a comment about life, a group that they belong to, whatever. When I owned my gyms, and I've told this story before, I owned my gyms, and everybody likes to, like I said, they like to wear stuff. Well, I started, I wanted to carry a bunch of T-shirts with my gym name on it. People like that, and then they advertise for you, which is great. Well, at first, I bought, I would go to a screen printer and tell them what I wanted, and they'd give me the shirts, and I'd sell them. I'd make a few bucks, and then I realized, I said, screen printer's making most of the money. I'm not making most of the money, so I learned how to screen print. I won't take you through the whole process. It's kind of interesting. Maybe I'll do that on another video. But I learned how to screen print, and a lot of times I would buy my shirts. Sometimes I'd buy the blanks, meaning the shirts without anything on them, from a wholesaler. Other times I'd get them at closeouts and clearance at the end of the year. Back then we had a chain called Venture. They used to carry a good brand of T-shirt and sweatshirt. I forget what, jerseys or something. At that time it was very good. If a clothing store was going out of sale and they had T-shirts or going out of business, whatever, I'd pick up a lot of closeouts. And then I would, with my own self-taught and self-manufactured screen printing apparatus, I'd print the shirts, and they sold like hotcakes. I made more money selling T-shirts than I did in gym memberships. That's right. So T-shirts, it's easy to get into. We do something, and our new line of T-shirts here is going to be coming out, I don't know, in the next month or two. Kelly does something called sublimation printing. It's different than screen printing. There's all sorts of ways. Look into it. Craft shows. You ever go to craft shows? It's full of people making buku money out of the little stuff that they make. Some of it's cool, some of it's silly, some of it's cheesy, whatever. People are buying all of it. And a lot of these people make their living just traveling around the country. Excuse me, allergy season. Travel in the country at craft shows and make a great living. If you don't think they'd make a great living, look at their pickup trucks and their trailers, and you'll see they make a great living. Well, you may not want to do that. You just want to, pick up, a few thousand extra dollars. These craft shows only cost you $100 or so for a booth. Is there something that you can make, that you can go in and set up a display and sell? If you make just a little bit of a profit the first time, you'll learn a lot. And then you'll be building from there. Whatever it is you do, a lot of people out there will buy it. Okay, go to some craft shows first if you haven't, and you probably have. See what they're doing. Kind of see how it goes. See, you'll be able to tell by looking at other people's booths. I don't think I'd do that, or I really like the way they have that displayed. And display is a lot, and then your personality is a lot. It's just, although I have to admit, there's some people out there with not much personality that seem to do pretty well. So maybe it's not personality, but it definitely is the product and the display. Write a book. Write a book. I don't ever show on this, but here's mine. I started just writing the Reversion. Where is that? Reversion's not there. Where is the Reversion? There it is. Okay. There's the first one. When I started writing the Reversion, it's buried in this stack here. They're for some reason out of order. When I started writing this, it was just as a as kind of a story. I started as a story because people were asking me what they should do to prepare for the collapse of the world or whatever. And so I started writing what I thought was going to be a short story, right? Well, I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and a year later I had so much that when I counted up the words, it was over 90,000 words, and I realized it was a book. And so I put out the first book, The Reversion, in 2017. From there came the rest of the Stonemont series, The Reversion, The Revival, The Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, The Blessings of Freedom, and the latest one, how'd these get out of order? Hostages to Fortune. Okay, I didn't start out to be a writer. I enjoyed it, and I was just sharing some information, and I wanted people to learn for it. But you know what? All of a sudden, I'm a writer. And that's pretty much what I do for a living now. But it all just started because I just wanted to write, a little something, and I had fun doing it. The accidental writer, I should call myself. So, there's a lot of, whatever it is, if you write a book, it doesn't have to be a thick one like The Reversion. Write a little something, sell it for 99 cents. Sell it for $1.99. If it's your memories, I don't know, whatever it is. Here again, I'm going to plug Sherry. She got an idea. She didn't even write anything in here. It's a wonderful idea. Just a notebook that people love to have. Kelly, my wife, loves hers. She's using it all the time. I use it all the time. Now I use the Stonemont one, but I stole it from the idea from Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. And to get hers, go over to Amazon and look up Sheridan Flower Notebook by Sheridan Jones. That's her pen name. Okay, so write a book. I'll tell you, my oldest son, Aiden, he, when he was, fourth grade or something like that, all of a sudden we saw him making little, like comic strip things, drawing and he was drawing and writing little comic books, folded it up into a piece of paper that he was selling to his classmates. I said, how genius is that? And people were getting into it. They were waiting to see what's the next episode of whatever. I don't know. I don't remember what it was called. I'll have to ask him that. That was just brilliant. The kid he just thought it up. I never knew anything about it until he'd been doing it for a while. He just did it on his own, selling this to classmates. Seedlings and selling vegetables. Okay, it is kind of two separate things there. Did you know that in almost every state, now this is more of a long-term thing, but in almost every state, there is something through either your Department of Forestry or Agriculture or something, just look it up, that will give you almost free seedlings. Sometimes they'll cost you 40 cents. Okay. So, several years ago, I bought a bunch of Norway spruce and white pine, excuse me, seedlings for 40 cents a piece, and a bunch of elderberry seedlings for 40 cents a piece. I think I got a couple of hundred, and I ordered some black plastic pots, and I set them out there in my backyard, and I stuck a seed in, filled them all with potting soil, stuck a seed in them, watered them. Pretty soon I had a bunch of seedlings. You can go out there and sell those for $10 a piece. Ask me how I know. Okay. Now I got busy, so I don't do that, but I am thinking about when I become less busy, it's something that I want to pursue. Let me put it that way. I don't know if that day will ever come, but you can do it. It's so easy. And so that's something that, you start now, you'll have your seedlings ready to sell next year. Where do you sell them? Well, I don't know, roadside stand, people that you know. See if you can make a deal with a local hardware store to put a table out there in front of their store, when they have a sale. Some will let you. Most of them are involved now in their big garden centers, so they won't let you. But find places that will. Here again, it's about putting yourself out there. Vegetables. If you are into gardening, which you should be, because it is, first off, gardening is like growing money. Okay, and in this way, I'll show you how to grow more money. When people where I worked at the hospital knew that I grew well, you know, a lot of tomatoes and peppers and different things like this. You'd be surprised how many came to me and said, hey, I will buy however many tomatoes you can bring me, you tell me the price. I never did because we pretty much ate everything. But I mean, man, if you got a good garden growing, you can turn it into a business. And you can do it through just people that you know. You can do it through, here again, make your contacts, let the word out about these things. And you can do it at work. You can do it through your church. You can, you know, however you want to do it. There's a guy up north of the river here in Kansas City. I don't know him, but I read his story. He started growing tomatoes some years ago. And his interest was growing exotic tomatoes, not just your regular old red ones that you get, you know, at the grocery store that taste like nothing. But he got interested in exotic tomatoes. And within several years, I mean, we're not talking about 20 years, we're talking about 3 or 4 years, he had established himself as a source. He started taking them around just as samples and giving them to restaurants, right? And they said, man, we've never had anything like this. He developed his own customer base through his sampling, and now he is famous around here. He supplies all of the fancy restaurants with these exotic tomatoes and makes a darn good living. Yep, wealth through tomatoes. Art. This kind of goes into a lot of different things. Are you an artist? Are you a craft person? I know people who sell their art. They paint pictures, they sell them, they make money. This is something that a lot of people just think of as a hobby. If you can turn your hobby into a business, there are great advantages towards that. I'm going to save that for another video because I'm going to mark this down. Tax advantages, turning hobby into a business. Excuse me while I jot this down, but if I don't, I'll forget it. Because there are tremendous tax advantages legally, okay? You don't have to try to get out of paying your taxes. All you got to do is know the law or have a good accountant, because the government wants you to succeed in your business. You don't have to make a profit your first year, but you'll probably have some losses that you can take off against other income. It's the law. Just stay within the law. Do what the law says, and you'll be fine. Tax advantages. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I won't forget it. So yeah. Anyway, I know people that paint pictures and they turn their hobbies into a business. All of a sudden, all of the materials that you're using, all the paints, all the brushes, all the whatever if you sketch, all the canvas, everything, all the frames, everything is tax deductible. And now you're making money off of it. Instead of painting a nice picture and giving it to Aunt Mildred, you're painting a nice picture and selling it to Bob. You've written off all your expenses. You've made money from Bob. And now you're getting a reputation as an artist, right? My nephew makes Viking jewelry out of bone and stones and things like that. They're a big deal. They got into these Ren Fests years ago, and now they make most of their money at the Ren Fests. And he makes Viking jewelry and cool stuff. Built a business out of that. I had a couple of friends who started businesses. They were in the medical field. Started businesses in making concealment furniture just out of scrap lumber. It's concealment furniture that you open it up and there's your bang bang, right? I've got one hanging in the family room. Great. They got together with one of the main chain firearms stores, ranges, everything like that, and the people said, yeah, you can sell your stuff through here. We'll take your orders. Okay, I could go on and on and on, but I think that if that gives you an idea. There are so many ways out there to make money. Be willing to start small. Be willing to start, number one. Be willing to start small. Build it. Don't borrow money. Know what you're doing. Be nice. Make contacts. Be willing to put yourself out there and let the world know. You know, that old saying that I've mentioned before, he who has a thing to sell, or she who has a thing to sell and goes and whispers in a well is not as apt to get the dollars as he who climbs a tree and hollers. Let the world know what you have that you can do for them, whether it's a service, an item, something to sell, something to do, whatever it is. You get the word out there and you're going to start having business come to you. And then as you develop more business, your business develops more business as your reputation gets out there. You know, if you do a good job mowing somebody's lawn, guess what? They've got 3 friends who need their lawns mowed too. If you put out a catchy T-shirt, people see it and they say, "Where'd you get that T-shirt?" They're going to say, "Right there. I'll tell you where to get it." Build your business. Guys, having your own business is the only way to a stable, dependable future of prosperity. You can't depend on a job. You can't depend on a corporation. We know, we've seen how they handle, right? They don't care about you. You can care about you. Is